And this is where I'm going to get every single one of you. Where's the line for Hollywood? No, it's not the choke. It's a trick question. We don't know where the line is. It might be here. Not only does it depend on your composition, it depends on where your teammates are set up. If I turn around and I see my Junkrat here, the line is right here, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody better set up around that Junkrat positioning. Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about a concept called the line. Essentially an evolution of the concept, the Killbox, but going in a little bit more detail, a little bit more accurately, and has huge ramifications for how you play different compositions, how you take space in a macro context, and it's just actually really helpful to know for even just rank play. Let me know if you have any questions, and please consider supporting me on Patreon so I can continue to make stupid videos like these. Enjoy the video. So, what is a Killbox? A Killbox is a position that my team takes where everybody can see and shoot the enemy team. It's that simple. So for me, my kill box right now as soldier is right here. Anywhere the enemy team walks through in here, this is a kill box, right? That's simple, right? I can shoot all the enemies in here. Okay, we're good to hear. Now, how does this actually work in an actual game? Well, let's load one up right now. I will literally just whatever map it gives me. King's Row, perfect. Let's do it. So we're on King's Row, ladies and gentlemen. My kill box on King's Row is not any one specific spot. Listen to me carefully. My kill box in King's Row is not any specific spot. There are spots that are better and worse, but it actually depends on a lot more than just, oh, this is a good spot. This is where we hold in King's Row. No. Where you hold in King's Row depends entirely on the ult situation, the heroes that you're playing, and so on. So, for example, if I'm playing Reinhardt in King's Row, and I've got a Mei, where's my kill box? I've got a Mei, and we're holding this choke right here. Where's my kill box? I'm gonna blow my nose. Give me a second. Right, just the choke. This is our kill box. So if I'm playing Ana, if I cannot see this spot right here, then I'm trolling the lobby. So if I'm playing Ana and I saw ML7 held this back position over here, right? But my Ryan and Mei are holding over here, I'm trolling the lobby, right? I'm feeding. I need to push up and play around our kill box. If I'm playing soldier and I'm playing back here and our kill box is here because we're holding this choke, then I'm trolling the lobby. I need to push up and hold this choke, okay? So your kill box depends on the heroes that you're playing, the circumstances that you're playing, and using your eyeballs to choose. Now, if I'm playing Reinhardt and I see a Widowmaker and my Widowmaker's back here and I'm spinning all the way into their spawn, I'm now trolling the lobby, right? Wait, my Widowmaker can't see me, she can't help me, she can't do anything, and then I die because it's a 4v5, I'm trolling the lobby. Now, here's the problem with Killbox, because for this circumstance, it works, okay? For this circumstance, it works. But let me ask you a question, chat. Let's say that I play Reinhardt on this corner right here, because my Ana's on high ground, I've got a Junkrat flanking through Hotel, I've got a Tracer on the back line up there, or let's say over there, right, where my crosshair is, and my Lucio is with me. So here's the question, chat. Where is my kill box? You got all the information that you should need, right? Where's my kill box? Is it here? Or is it here? Or is it over here? Or is it over here? It's a round statue, right? But where is it specifically? If I were to draw a line, now I can't, I wish I had an epic pin. You guys can see my mouse, right? If I were to draw a line, where is it, guys? Is it, because my junk, because it could be over here, right? It could be over here. It could also be up here. And it could also be up here, because all these positions, my Junkrat can help, my Ana can help, my soldier can help. Right. So this is the problem with Killbox. If we draw a Killbox like this, let's just draw what we just drew here. There's the corner that I'm playing as Reinhardt. This is the little hotel building, right? This is me, Reinhardt. This is the statue right here, right? There's people up top here. There's like my tracers back there, and my Ana's back here. Here, let's do this. Ana back here, tracer here, Junkrat here, soldier up top here. If you want to draw a kill box for this, then the kill box is going to look something like this. Right? What is this month? You see you see how this is a problem? Do you see this monstrosity? This is kind of confusing, right? And it only gets more complicated. It only gets more complicated because if we change the map here, and let's just pick another random map here. Let's just pick, I don't know, Busan, okay? So Busan, I don't care what Busan map we get. Whoops, restart match. Right, well, the question is can we narrow it down? So here's Busan. Okay, Busan downtown. Okay, if I'm playing here as Ryan, or as I'm playing here as Winston, let's say, up on high ground, and my Widowmaker is back here, and I've got a Sombra on the flank with my Zenyatta, and let's say my Ana's back here, right? So let's try and draw this one out again. Okay, so let's get our little Microsoft Paint rolling here again. You guys have to bear with me. My art skills are second to none, and that's for the best of humanity. Okay. So this is here. We got the little back high ground where the Widow is on, right? You guys remember the little cover here? And so we got our Winston's up top here, Sombra's on the flank with Zen, Ana's back here, Widow's back here. Where's our kill box? Right? It's like here, right? It's like this entire area technically, okay? Now the reason why kill boxes are important is if I as a Winston am going into their spawn and my Ana and a Widowmaker and Zen and so on cannot match my tempo, then they are not in my kill box, are they? Do you see that? I am out of position, right? I've dove where they cannot help, right? And if I as a Widowmaker see that my Ana Zen are back here, but I just troll the lobby and I trot my little footsies over here and I grapple up to the opposite high ground, so that would be up here, right? And I'm in their spawn, scoping them in spawn, but my Ana Zen are back here, I'm trolling the lobby. I need to play around where we are fighting as a unit. And obviously in ranked, that can be complete chaos, but that's why paying attention to your team's positioning is important. You can make decisions around it. So the problem here is the kill box terminology has good intentions, but it's not descripted enough. Isn't this like explaining positioning or overseeing? It is, exactly that. So the other thing we have to consider is because when people take different off angles, as we saw, if I Widow is all the way back here, remember we talked about how big the kill box gets. It gets to be so big, it's ridiculous to call it a kill box at all. It's a bit over specific. So this is where we bring in a new little word called, and this is really, really inauspicious, the line. The line. And that's all it is. And what the line means is the exact spot on the map, just the general line where the enemy crosses into space that we want to control. So for us, chat, obviously you're not going to be able to verbalize, type this in chat and be able to answer this question for me, but you guys can already see where I'm going with this, right? Where is the line? You see how much easier this is? Right about here. As soon as we cross that line, 1, 2, 3, 4 people, they're done. That's it. So anytime anybody crosses that line, this is where we're fighting. This is where we're fighting. And if we go back to the King's Row example, right? You guys remember King's Row, right? Duh. Where are we fighting? Remember the example with a Reinhardt holding her on point? Remember the soldier in the background? Where's the line? Do you see now it's no longer a box? It's just a line. It's just a line, y'all. It's just a line. So all this mess cleaned up. Here's our statue. Here's our corner. Here's that opposite high ground. Here's me as Reinhardt and Ana, and Ana, Tracer back here. And whoa, now we got a flank too, right? But guess what? The line's right here. And the reason why this is so important is, let me ask you a question. You guys you're a tracer on the flank. Listen to me. This is really important. You're a tracer on the flank. When do you utilize this flank? Can you guys even see that? When do you utilize this flank? Do you utilize it when the enemy's here? No. Here? No. Because your team can't help you. Your team can't see you. It's just you. No. No. When they cross the line. When they cross the line. Because as soon as they cross the line, you can put your attention on them. And if they all turn around and focus on you, they turn their back to 1, 2, and don't forget the soldier, 3, and whatever else. Do you see that? The reason why line's important is not only is it a simpler way of explaining it, just where we're holding, but it also incorporates flanks. Because it tells you, for example, when we play around a kill box, we might have somebody in spawn. Like my tracer might legitimately be all the way over here. Like my tracer might be sitting up in here, right? But until they cross the line, she waits. Until she crosses the line, she waits. I might be playing Sombra and setting up, but until they cross the line, I wait. The reason why this is important is, like I said, it's simpler, it explains flanks better, and it implies that we can be spread out over the map. But as long as we can see the same spot, the same line where the enemy team crosses, then we can commit. Right? You can commit. Let's look at one more map, trying to explain this concept. Killboxes just don't work. Let's just look at Hollywood, all right? So chat, where is the line for Hollywood? And this is where I'm going to get every single one of you. Where is the line for Hollywood? Where is it? No, it's not the choke. It's a trick question. We don't know where the line is. We don't know. It might be here. Not only does it depend on your composition, it depends on where your teammates are set up. If I turn around and I see my Junkrat here, the line is right here, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody better set up around that Junkrat positioning. Right? Not just on where the enemies are, it depends on where your team is. Right, exactly. Let me ask you another question. What if I have a Torbjorn back here? Chat, where's the line? Or a Widowmaker back here? Or a Zenyatta back here? Where's the line? It's more like here, isn't it? It's a little bit later. We could still spam here, but it's more here, right? Let me ask you another question. Let's say you hold this choke. You mess up. Your Ramatra wastes his Nemesis form, you all 1 HP, everybody runs away, you use Baptiste Lamp. Now where's the line? Now where's the line? It moves back. Let's say you guys kill one member of the enemy team and they're all 1 HP. And they start kiting towards spawn, your Reinhardt pins into here. Where's the line? Right here. Spawn, essentially. It shifts. It moves up. And as complicated and as weird as this sounds, it really is just simply paying attention to where your teammates are set up. That's it. That's all it is. If your Ryan goes in, match his tempo. Your Ryan goes out, match his tempo. If you're the Ryan player and you're hard holding here while you have a Widowmaker in spawn holding this off angle here, you are trolling the lobby. If you are Reinhardt and you are holding this corner here, and you have an Ana or a Widowmaker set all the way up back here, right? Hey, you know what? This is actually fine. But let's say you were trying to spawn camp, right? You're pushing around the corner. You're trolling the lobby. The line has shifted. You must shift as well. A kill bubble? Sure. I mean, I'm not living or dying by the word the line, right? That's about as boring as you could get. I'm sure there's a better term out there for it, but you guys understand what I'm saying. It's constantly shifting. The line is just simply where the team fight is setting up. And the reason why understanding this is so important is when somebody in chat was asking about how do I position better? Positioning is contextual on where your team is taking the fight. If I say, remember the reason I always pull up ML7 because ML7 is so good at positioning, but the unfortunate thing is that sometimes people take his positions literal when they're dependent upon what his team is doing. For example, I can position here as Ana, but if my team is spawn camping, I'm trolling. I can position here as Ana, but if my team is spawn camping, it's trolling. The line has shifted. I have to shift as well. Call it a line of engagement, sure. Maybe the Widow is trolling the lobby by not moving up though? Sure. Generally, so here's a question, chat. Who gets to dictate where we're taking the fight? So, okay, let me be honest with you guys. When you're in a ranked game, it's better for you to kind of pay attention to what your teammates are doing and accommodate accordingly and play. If you're playing Widowmaker back here and your teammates just spawn camping, you might need to adjust. But like, let's say optimal macro, you're in a team environment, you're communicating with these people. Tank? Yeah. It's tricky, isn't it? I would say tank, yes, but if you're spawn holding as Ryan and you're playing a Widowmaker, do you really want to be spawn holding as Ryan when you have a Widowmaker at this point, right? This is not the best sightline in the world for Widow. Here's a good guideline. Whose positioning benefits the most from a specific spot? I know that's a little bit complicated, but bear with me. Whose positioning benefits the most from a specific spot? Does my Rhine live or die by spawn holding or this choke? Not a huge difference right here, right? Do I as an Ana care if I hold here or if I hold, I don't know, here? I mean, this is definitely worse. Remember the Widowmaker example? Is this a powerful position for Widowmaker, chat? Oh, unbelievably so. So to me, everything stops until my Widowmaker sets her feet. Now let me ask you a question. If we go to third point, are there unbelievably oppressive Widowmaker positions on third point Hollywood? Not really. No. They're okay spots, but not really. So now all of a sudden, we don't have to play our Widowmaker around our Widowmaker sightlines as much. Maybe I have a tracer on a flank setting up here. So now maybe I want to actually push past the choke because I know my tracer wants to set up past the choke. Maybe I as a Junkrat am going to flank around behind, right? You want to find the most high impact, high importance, top priority position on your team and play around that. Now the reason why that's important, do you guys remember the May example on King's Row? So as you get higher in the ranks, you'll notice fewer teams hard hold this choke right here. But teams will, if they're playing May, hold this line on the statue, right? So if you're playing with a May drastically, significantly benefits from holding on statue. So you should probably play around the May on statue. Because May is the top priority. She benefits the most from creating the line here. Let's go to third point. You're playing with a damage boosted Ashe on defense on third point. Where should you hold? Consider it. Damage boosted Ashe on third point. Where's the line? Give space for Ashe to control high. Right. So you would not hold this choke here because your Ashe doesn't get enough value out of that here. She wants to control a high ground, so you accommodate her needs and play around here. Let me ask you a question. You were playing with a Winston on King's Row third point defense. How do you play? Where do you play? Where's the line? Same thing, right? Same thing, right? I think with Winston can definitely function here, but he doesn't want to. He would prefer to play this high ground here, right? So if you hold the choke, if you're playing Junkrat and you're spamming here, right? And your Winston's like, okay, I guess I have to hold up here. You're doing yourself a disservice. As a Junkrat on this point, you are more flexible than your Winston is. So you need to accommodate his needs and play around the high ground. Do you see what I'm saying? Some characters become useless if you hold the wrong spot. Exactly. You need to think. What characters benefit the most from certain spots? It is not DPS. It is not support. It is not tank. It completely depends. And this is what makes it really hard. Where you take fights depends on the outliers on your composition. Who would benefit the most from X position? Play around that spot. Now, chat, I don't know. Maybe the person you're playing with isn't going to take that spot. You know, if you turn around and you're Widowmaker, if your Ashe is just sitting on the floor, okay, play whatever, right? So this is a little bit harder to apply in ranked, but I tell you what is applicable in ranked, using your eyeballs and seeing where people set up. This is the number one thing that I did when I was playing, practicing a little bit of Ramatra and Orisa in ranked for like last season, right? I just simply turned around before fight started.
Focusing on mechanics like you told me, I think I can hit GM this
Good luck. I'm glad to hear it. Keep up the good practice. If I'm playing Ramatra and I'm like, I turn around and I see my Ana back here, immediately alarm bells are going off in my brain. And if I hard hold this choke, it's not my Ana who's trolling me with her positioning, it's me who's trolling me with the positioning. Right? If I turn around as Ramatra and I see my Tracer set up flanking like up here, and I'm going to continue to hold the line on this choke. Again, it's not my Tracer trolling the lobby with the position. It is me who's trolling the lobby with the positioning. This kind of stuff is mostly pre-planned in the pro scene. Yes, but it often will change depending on the matchup too, right? It will depend on what we're playing into. Like, for example, if I'm playing Ramatra and I'm like looking back, my Ana's back there and we're in Overwatch League scrims, great. But then all of a sudden they roll out on a spam comp that we need to stuff in the choke. My Ana might drop. She might drop it. She might play hyper-aggressive through Hotel. We're talking about pro-level stuff here, but the line will shift. People's positions will shift depending on the situation. The challenge is when you end up with two heroes that fundamentally conflict about how, when, where they're able to hold exactly. It's about finding the nuance of that. Now, let me give you an example of synergy there, okay? If I'm playing with a Junkrat and a Widowmaker, I can still draw the line right here, right? Because my Junkrat can benefit from spamming in the short sight line or taking this short sight line for a flank, and my Widowmaker can still control the sight line on the line here, right? She's got a good sight line here. So sometimes you have heroes that have conflicting goals or conflicting strengths, but actually they complement each other very well. Not always the case, but sometimes. Sometimes. You're just looking to find LS or Widow in that situation, right? Can I as Junkrat find a short sight line around my Widowmaker's LOS? And the answer usually is yes. I mean, guys, we're talking about, for the most part, pretty darn well designed maps. There's usually a lot of options. There's short sight lines, long sight lines, medium sight lines, high ground, low ground, right? So we have options here. Usually you're not going to be a Circuit Royale situation where there is nothing but long sight lines in most of the circumstance, right? And that's why that map feels bad. There's no dynamic there. Okay. So I want to stop here and I want to open the floor for questions. So I'm going to pull up some random maps while we're talking about this. Do you guys have any questions? Let's pick another map here. Team is on point. Backline is on point. Let's say my Ashe is up here. If I as a tank hold the choke, I'm trolling. I need to hold the choke here because now I'm playing within the line of the Ashe. that might also line up with the fact that if I have a tracer, I want to kind of let them out of the choke so that my tracer can use more of the flanks around here. This is very tricky to apply on teammates who don't know how about the line. Yes and no. So remember, the number one thing that you can take away from this is to simply pay more attention to where your teammates are setting up. This as a tank, DPS, or support. Let your teammates dictate the line and complement them with your strengths. So what I mean by that is if your teammates are brain dead idiots and you're playing Zenyatta and they're spawn holding this corner here, you can help them. You just need to find what's the best. If my team is holding here, what's the best position for me is Zen? Well, I want a slightly longer sight line and I want good cover. So what I would do is Zen is I'd probably play here. Right? Is it optimal? No. But I can still help contribute to the line by doing this. How do full dive compositions utilize any sense of the line? Well, if I'm playing dive here, it's very important that I understand the concept of the line, because the line is where we're setting up the dive. That might be this choke. And then if the enemy team is smart and doesn't just walk out into the choke, but maybe they send a Zenyatta, a pocketed tracer up to contest your tracer, and they start to contest your space, well then guess what? Even though their backline has not walked forward, they have crossed your line. And so then now we're actively dueling and contesting them for space. So generally dive matchups either result in everybody diving on the line, or when people poke and prod different parts of the line trying to control space and punch past it, you smack it. It's like playing a game of whack-a-mole. You cross the line here, you cross the line there, you cross the line there, right? It's putting out small fires and control, and that's what controlling space usually means. Is Sigma the only long-range tank now? I mean, pretty much. I was hoping Ramatra might have more range, but Ramatra doesn't have particularly long range. So, yeah. I think Rhine can work in some examples on that map because it's very narrow and flat for the most part until like third point, but yeah. It's tough. Sigma is definitely the best tank there, I think. But yeah, just because a composition has mobility doesn't mean that there's no sense of the line. For example, when dive metas were being played in Overwatch League in Stage 1, the line was almost always this choke right here because it was very easy to stuff tracers and stuff backline on this choke. And so what teams would try and do is they try and pocket their flankers and their tank to get through and puncture the line to start harassing the enemy backline. But if the enemy team was really good, they just mark you and match you and never ever let you punch through the line. They'd shoot your flankers, shoot your flankers, shoot your flankers, right? And so then your backline would get impatient and try and walk up to help, but by walking up, you'd cross the line, which means you got dove. Making space means moving up your line, right? Or contesting it. So like what we can even think about with making space is if, like, let's say this is the enemy team here, right? Okay. So the line for them is here, right? This is where they're set up to fight. You as team green here, you know that you can't just run it down mid and walk into their crossfire. Ouch, you're gonna get rolled. They're gonna go bam, 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 right? So what you do is you put your resources over here and you smack this guy around. Guys, punch, 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 punch. And if they don't respond very well, then you cross the line, but you do it sneakily, right? The line now looks like this. You see that? And now you have this part of the map. And then maybe you put more resources and the line starts to tick-tock, tick-tock, and maybe this guy has to clear out. And then now all of a sudden, if this guy doesn't move back, the line is actually here, right? And this guy is now out of position. Because as his blue X's have moved back, he has not adjusted, and now he's out of position. That's what being out of position means. It means being too aggressive disproportionately to the rest of your team, and you could punish it. I'm telling you guys, this is pretty tricky stuff, but this is how we create space. It's usually indirectly, through subterfuge, through spies and sneaks and rats, controlling angles and controlling flanks, fighting for positions. Right, the reason why walking main isn't smart is because the line, this is where Killbox came from, right, chat? Because generally the line is concentrated in one spot. This is the strongest spot for the line, right? But the reason why Killbox didn't work alone is because technically the line is over here too. It's just a little bit less so. All of the enemy's attention is usually put on a choke in a one specific area, but the problem is that smart teams will never directly contest that. They'll always fight around space here, and the kill boxes don't really explain how to deal with that very well. Whereas if we see this here, for example, if I'm Team Blue's coach and I said, guys, they're crossing our line over here, beat the crap out of these guys. Let's put all of our support, control this space, right? That's why the line is important, is understanding. It's not just about the choke. It's about all the things around the choke as well. So can a whole team be out of position at the same time? No, not really. No. I mean, you could be in a bad position, but being out of position means out of position in relation to your team. So now let's actually ask you a question. All right? Team Blue. Team Blue moves forward. Just this guy. Who's out of position now? Just this guy. This guy walks forward now. Who's out of position? And these guys don't move. Well, both of these guys are out of position, right? Both of these guys. This guy walks forward. This guy walks forward. And this guy walks forward. These guys stand still. Who's out of position now? These two. We'll probably end up killing these three guys first. But it's actually technically these two because they didn't move the line with their team. Now, let's say this guy moves forward, this guy moves forward, this guy moves forward, and this guy moves forward, but this guy stays behind. Now who's out of position? Well, it's this guy. Again, these guys might die first for it, unless we've got, like, let's say a tracer on the flank to kill this guy. But it's this guy who's out of position because he has not matched his team's line. He has not matched his team's tempo. And this is war strategy. This is war strategy, guys. This is war strategy. There's a reason why you can coach Overwatch, CSGO, and Valorant, and Apex Legends. And there's nuances and differences between all the games, but it's just the same thing. Map control, spacing, timing, controlling of angles, controlling of flanks, fight location, space, it's just the same thing, guys. We're ready to commit war crimes? Well played. Yeah, we're almost like we're playing a game. Not killing guys, eliminating. Eliminating other people. Heroes never die, right? Unless you're Moira, and I guess nobody dies. You can all play Mayna, yeah. The war crime queen herself. Okay, any other questions? I know I've monologued for a while here, but this is fascinating to me. Because things like this is how I coach Overwatch. It's like finding these like macro big picture concepts and just plugging heroes into that. Okay, so now we know what the line is. How does a Mei hold the line? How does a Tracer hold the line? Where would you position as Tracer to best hold the line? You guys gonna see how would I puncture the line as Tracer, right? It's when you establish big picture things like this, it makes it so much easier to understand what each hero, how to play each hero, because it becomes how does each hero complement this concept. You know what the end result needs to be, so you know exactly what to expect. If you just go into a game without knowing how to play Overwatch and then try and understand how to play Ramatra, you're going to have no idea. But if you can say Ramatra is a short-range hero with long-range threats, he's very mobile, and you think about what makes that hero strong and then plug him into, you know, range, angles, space, timing, things like that, it becomes so much easier. This is how I can coach heroes without playing them a lot. This is also how I can coach heroes when they've just come out, right? You just plug and play, right? Though there's a lot of nuances that come with time, of course, but you plug and play. Forget Anal main Mei. I feel like I can climb faster knowing this line thing. Yes and no. I mean, knowledge isn't the same thing as execution, though, guys. So don't get too big of your head. You know, I think like there's a lot of people that are really, really smart that aren't able to execute because it's hard to explain these things in game. But like this is why I put so much emphasis on just be aware of where your team is set up. If you're aware of where your team is set up, that's a great skill for ranked. Just be aware. Not in the middle of a fight. Right before the fight starts. Oh, we're fighting there. Oh, we're going up there. All right. That's a huge skill. Huge skill. I've had you as my tank twice in comp now. Chadward. Your name sounds familiar. I'm sorry if you had me twice in your... I'm generally stress testing something or playing a hero I don't know how to play, and that's why I'm playing it in comp. I don't play comp for fun anymore, sadly. I play comp to like learn a new hero that I want to coach a little bit better on the micro. So I generally end in some way, shape, or form. I'm trying my best, but I usually end. Oh, yeah, I'm not usually in voice or team chatter. Honestly, I get trolled too much. I told you about that time that I was in voice or team chat and somebody's like, there's no way this is the real Spilo. This guy's playing like trash. And I was like, oh, come on, no. I generally am like either half distracted or focusing on something else. What can you do as a flanker to keep track of the line when you're playing the enemy backline or on a flank? So one of the things you could do is look through walls, right? So if I shift this X here, so let's redraw these things. Watch this. Here, 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 and then one of the X's is down here. Now where's the line? Well, probably somewhere about here. But what I can do is I can look through walls, right? See my team's outlines and see how their positioning is shifted. Now, the other thing, chat, is how do you know when the line's crossed? Well, you can usually hear it because stuff starts to happen. Cooldowns start to get traded. You know, and that's usually your cue, even if you can't see it, to know that the line is crossed and it's time for you to go. One of the games we smoked them, sick. How do you adopt this on the fly with control where you're both walking in with no established lines? Try and establish the position where that best favors your composition. So if I'm playing on rolling out Nepal Village on high ground and the enemy team has Lucio, Speed, Ryan May, whatever, I want to try and play more open sight lines. So I establish my line. So for example, on like Nepal Village, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Everyone rolls out to high ground, that little lump there, and then usually there's just this big blunder fest, right, with the staircase here, you know, staircase here, you know, and then there's the high ground, and then there's the point somewhere over there, right? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? I'm trying to draw this as best I can. So for me, I might roll out and go, oh crap, I don't want to fight here, so I'm going to reverse back and go this direction. But even then, I'm not holding the line here, right? I would prefer to set the line somewhere in this vicinity and try and take good angles to spam. So where you set the line really depends on what the strength of your composition is. So you get to pick what positions you want to hold. I feel like people are way too toxic comp for no reason. Oh yeah. And also, like, honestly, like one kind of coincidentally that we're talking about this, because this is why I don't always feel the need to join voices, because I've generally am pretty good at keeping awareness of where my teammates are positioned. So I generally don't need them to tell me what they're doing because I already know what they're doing. And then push is another great example where push, the line is always shifting, right, with the objective. So you very quickly have to change your positions. Oh no, we're holding here. Oh no, the bot's moved up. Okay, I gotta move forward. Oh, the bot's moved back. I gotta adjust. And that's why a lot of times in push, having very mobile heroes can be very helpful, because you can quickly adjust your positioning based off of where the objective is faced. Because people fight around the objective, right? But if the objective is moving very quickly, you have to change your positions very quickly oftentimes. How do you think Lucio interacts with the line? I mean, it makes it easier to adjust, right? It makes it easier to adjust because you can encroach on their line very quickly and cross into their space very quickly without. Because a lot of the times it's like no man's land, right? When you cross the line, right, usually where the line is crossed is usually the most painful part. When you walk through the choke, this sucks. So as a Lucio, you allow your team to cross the line and get past this part quickly. So then we can start to take skirmishes and take brawls away from this one nasty, hate to say it, Killbox, right? Or if you want to ignore the Killbox theory here, and you just want to clear space by punching on the angles like we said earlier, you could even do things like rotate and clear out the angles very quickly before the enemy team has time to adjust.